Brian Van Dyne. Welcome to the channel. Please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe for great content. Check out the YouTube channel. We got lots of cool content on the channel. We got playlists galore, frequently asked questions, the dump truck business history. We got do-it-yourself, help. We got reviews. We got all that good stuff. Check it out. I've been doing a lot of shorts lately, and we also have some members-only content. So just wanted to put that out there. So today I want to talk about playing the long-term game, right? So many of you guys are, and I get trapped up in this too. We try and play the short-term game, right? Right? Short-term game is like, oh, let me buy this steak so I can be happy. Or let me go buy these Apple EarPods so I can be happy right now, right? Let me go buy this Snap-on tool because it's shiny, right? The long-term game is, okay, I'm not going to spend my money on something stupid that is going to go down in value. I'm going to save my money, and I'm going to spend it on something that's going to make more money in the future, right? Like, you don't even have to invest in the stock market or cryptocurrency, or, it doesn't have to be dump trucks. It doesn't have to be real estate. There's so many options of what you guys could just save some money and then buy something that's going to make you money long term, right? And I want you guys to write down in the chat, what's your favorite long term way to spend your money? And just for the hell of it, tell me what's your favorite way to spend your money right now and get some sort of satisfaction out of it, right? So me personally, I've done a little bit of real estate. I've owned a couple houses, and I've made good money on those, right? They're kind of risky though too, depending on what type of long game you're running. If you're doing like rentals, or if you're doing single family occupancies, uh, or just your personal residence, for that matter. I've spent money on dump trucks, right? I think honestly, my favorite right now is dump trucks. I got $350,000 wrapped up into this dump truck, right? That's a lot of money, right? It didn't take me that long to get here, though, guys. This is the thing that I want to kind of explain to you guys. Like, if you start out with an old junky dump truck and you literally put in the hours making money, like, you have 18 hours in a day that's 100% workable 18 hours, because everybody can work great on 6 hours of sleep. If you can't work great on 6 hours of sleep, then you're sleeping wrong. I don't know how to put it. If I get 6 hours of sleep, I'm golden. Ron, I have one dump truck currently. I had 3 dump trucks at one point. I sold 2 of them. Now it's just me and my dump truck, right? Get more. So I started out with the junk dump truck, right? Everybody knows it cost me $8,000. The frame was cracked, blah, blah, blah. If you don't know the story, go watch the videos, right? Everybody knows it was a piece of junk when I bought it. And I worked that truck. I have a 2020 Peterbilt. It's called a Super Max because it's set up to haul a pup trailer. I don't haul a pup trailer personally with it. I just use it as a super dump. But anyways, so I started with just one dump truck. It was an $8,000 dump truck. The frame was cracked, blah, blah, blah. story, lots of hard work, right? Lots of 12-hour shifts, and then come home and then work on the dump truck for another 6 hours, right? Eventually, took me 7 months, but then I finally got my dump truck on the road, started making money, started really killing it, and I started saving up my money. And then I bought stuff that was going to make me more money, right? It's just like any simple board game, like Monopoly, for example. You buy the crappy real estate, you go around the board a whole bunch of times, and you accumulate more real estate, and then next thing you know, you at the end of the day, you look back and you're like, oh, I got the boardwalk. Somebody just landed on my boardwalk, and I just made a killing. It doesn't happen overnight, right? It starts off with all the stupid small stuff that just builds up. It's the same as running a business. You start with something small, you know, and then you just keep building and building and working and working and working. And next thing you know, then you have this empire that you're maintaining, you know. It's just like my YouTube channel, for example, right? It's not massive or anything like that by any stretch of imagination, but I started out doing videos on a cell phone, just like I am now. Started out doing videos on a cell phone. I got maybe 10, 20 views, right? Probably like 3 of them was my own family. 4 of them was my own family watching the videos. And then some random person in India watched it, and then, whatever. And then here we are, 5 years later, we have 10,000 subscribers. This last month we had 40,000 views, right? So nothing starts big. Nothing starts big, right? It just grows into something big. You guys have to realize that. When you start your business, this is not going to be this massive corporation just making millions and millions of dollars. It doesn't happen like that, okay? It takes time to build something. And that's one of the hardest things for a lot of guys to, you know, to realize. It doesn't take forever though. Here's the thing. It does not take forever for you to build a serious business where you're making, good money, right? What it does require though is an extreme amount of hard work. Extreme amount of hard work. And a lot of time, right? And so the way I personally look at it is when you start your business, you need to be given 110% of your time to that business. It's like a baby, right? But because you don't know when you're going to die. What's that? I left my phone right here at this coffee shop. Copy that. I don't even know what you mean. Something about a coffee shop. Something about a coffee shop. But okay, so one of the things is it doesn't take forever to make, a serious amount of money. I mean, think about it, right? It took me 5 years, right, to make a couple $100,000, right? That's pretty quick if you think about it. Like, if I would have just worked for somebody the whole time, I never would have made the kind of money I made. Let's just put that out there, right then and there. Oh, I wonder what he was sitting there for. Okay, sorry guys, I'm a little distracted with my job, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Okay, so a lot of you guys got to learn how to be more productive. You know, I catch a lot of flack from people. Oh, Brian, you have great content, but why are you doing it while you're driving? Why are you doing it while you're driving, Brian? That's not safe. You know how irritating that is? I have a certain amount of hours in a day to be working, right? Doing a video while I'm driving requires this much concentration. Literally this much. It's just like talking to your buddy that's sitting in the passenger seat of your car. Like literally, that's what it is. That's basically the same. If you think it's any different than that, I don't know what to tell you. It's basically the same. Oh, that guy went to go get coffee. That's what he was doing. Oh, what are you backing up for? Okay, he's gonna back up and pull forward. I'm gonna get out of his way. It's all yours. All right, I gotta get off. I gotta go back and dust the tailgate real quick. All right, rock and roll. Rock and roll. Get out there on the street. That's how it is, folks. Rock and roll. On that pea gravel, I got to get out and. With pea gravel, we're trying to stack the piles kind of nice and, you know, close to the machine, right? So you end up getting a whole bunch of pea gravel on your hitch and your brake cans and everything. You got to dust that stuff off before you get out on the road, or you're going to be breaking windshields left and right just because people follow too close. If they didn't follow so close, it wouldn't be a big deal. You know, it'd just blow off and just, you know, the street sweepers would pick it up. But people follow right on your tail, you know, 2 feet behind your tailgate, and then they wonder why they got a cracked windshield, you know, from a rock that gets picked up or whatever. But anyways, back to what I was saying. You guys got to play the long game sometimes. Like I understand YOLO, right? You only live once. But here's the thing. There is a fine line between spending every single dollar you have on pointless, meaningless stuff and having a sucky life, or, you know, saving up and investing some money, working hard, and then being able to have a better life for the rest of your life, right? If you suffer for a little bit and then you get through it, then you don't have to suffer as hard anymore, right? It's kind of like when you go through school. You can go through school and you can, you know, do sucky in school, you know, get crappy grades or whatever. It just shows realistically school doesn't matter, but it's, you know, it's your work ethic basically. If you can do good in school, then you probably have a good work ethic, right? But everybody's different, right? Though some people just are not good with the school environment. But the point I'm trying to make is if you have a good work ethic, then you're going to be able to get ahead in life. And a good work ethic is not just working 12 hours a day. That's not a good work ethic, guys. That's average work ethic. That's average. If you only can work 12 hours a day and then the leftover 6 hours in the day, you come home, you sit on the couch, you're like, oh, I'm so tired. Let me watch some cat videos on YouTube. Or let me, you know, let me go watch Top Quad, you know, or whatever. I don't know what you guys watch. Me, I never watch YouTube anymore, guys. The only time I'm watching YouTube is to learn something, or if like if somebody has like a really good mindset and I'm trying to uh okay, so they say the 5 people you hang around the most is what you're going to be like, right? So if I'm watching somebody's videos 24/7, I'm going to end up being like kind of like that person, right? So if I am watching videos, it's somebody that I aspire to be like, you know, if they have good ideas, I try and watch their stuff. I don't waste time watching stupid videos though. At least I try not to. I definitely don't have time to watch Netflix or Hulu or all those other TV shows. A lot of you guys work 12 hours, you come home, you watch 2 hours of Netflix. You make your dinner and you eat it, that's an hour and a half. Maybe you had to go run an errand. That takes another hour. And then your day's gone. You guys gotta be more productive. Oh crap. This guy seriously way too close to me. Go around him. Old Safeway truck. Country Morning Farm. Thoughts on Kanye's situation? He got canceled for calling the Jays out. What's the Jays? I don't even know what the Jays are. And I've been hearing something about them trying to cancel Kanye or whatever. I don't know if you guys watch Andrew Tate at all. Dude, that guy's on. Every time I watch one of his videos, it's like, dude, he's on point. On point. You know, the people we can't talk about. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the big tech has a way of trying to silence people that are gaining control and influence. because they want to control the narrative, right? They want to control everything. And the more, the more you get into business, the more you get into, not becoming a slave to the system, the more you become a lot more cynical and realistic on what the reality of the whole situation is. I just gotta say it, man. This world is a messed up place. This world is such a messed up place, and they will take advantage. The world will take advantage of you in every way, shape, and form it can. Just look at it in just take this paradigm for example, like the lions and the gazelle, right? You think the lions are king of the jungle just because they sit around all day? No, they're not. They get up and they take what they want. And that's the way this world is. If you don't get out there and take what you want, you're never going to get it. If you want the meat, you got to go kill it. That's the way this world really works, And society has really tried to put a lot of, they put all these forms and systems in place to depress men and keep them down and keep them, just lazy and just so depressed. And then they're fat and they have sexless marriages. I mean, man, if you don't get out there and get it in life, you're never gonna get it. You gotta go chase after it, like the lion. You gotta go kill it like a lion. Because if you don't, you're just gonna be running around scared your whole life. A lot of people ask me, "Hey, Brian, should I start a business? Should I do this? Should I do that?" Why are you asking me? Why don't you just do it? Why don't you just give it a shot? You know. And I understand where they're coming from because I kind of had the same mentality. Like, I was like asking people that I really looked up to, like my grandpa and my in-laws. I was like, I'd like to start a business, and they're like, well, do what you want to do, but just be smart about it. And there's always that, that tone of be careful what you do, because you don't want to end up homeless, right? You don't want to end up, not being able to provide for your family, right? And so that mentality kind of holds you back, right? It kind of says, well, do the safe thing, just work for somebody, and you can make a living, and you can, have food on the table and a roof over your head. You're never gonna be able to afford a Lamborghini. You're never gonna be able to afford a private jet. You're never gonna be able to do all the really exotic things in life, but you'll be all right, right? And if you don't take the risk, for one, you got to live with the regret of never taking the risk, right? So you're always going to be thinking inside your head, oh, I wonder what could have happened, Like, I always remember, when I was in high school, like I was broke, right? I mean, I wasn't broke. I just spent my money on stupid stuff like video games, right? Well, I had this idea in my head when I was in high school. I'm like, you know what? If I had $200 right now, what company would I invest in? And I said, oh, Google or Microsoft. Duh. Like, no brainer. No brainer, right? If I would have invested just that $200 right now, it probably would be worth close to $15,000. 15,000, $200 to 15,000, right? But it's always that, whoa, you never know what's going to happen. So let's just think the worst is going to happen, and let's just paralyze ourselves so we don't do anything. Or let's spend our money on stupid stuff like video games and food, to make ourselves feel better right now, because we don't know if we're going to live 20 years or not. I mean, statistics say you live to be 70. That's the average, right? So just right. If you're in your 40s right now and you've been working for somebody your whole life and you're sick and tired of it, but you think, oh, I'm too old to start my own business. I'm too old. Dude, you're stupid. Just do it. You got until you're 70, right, before you're dead, right? That's what the statistics say. So if you're 40, just think about it this way: 50, 60. You got 20 years to, realistically, if you're in business for 10 years and you don't make a serious amount of money, for one, you're doing something wrong. I don't know how you could not make some serious wealth in 10 years of running a business, right? I've only been running a business for 5, and I've been able to accumulate a couple $100,000, right? So if start your business in your 40s, let's say you just do it for, let's just say you do it for 5 years like me. Let's just say I just decided to sell all my stuff right now. I'd have a couple $100,000 in the bank, right? If you don't start your own business and you just work for somebody, you're not going to have any money in the bank. You're going to have zero. You're going to be living paycheck to paycheck, because that's what the average American does, is live paycheck to paycheck. Actually, it's higher than average. They say 75% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, right? So that means you get your paycheck, and by the time your next paycheck comes, you've already spent your paycheck that you got, right? So let's just say you decide to take the risk. There's really no downside to it. Think about it. Think about it. You're in your 40s. You spend 5 years. So now you're 45. And instead of being paycheck to paycheck, now you got 200 grand in the bank, or 300,000, or, maybe you're a good businessman and you got $1 million in the bank in 5 years. You spent 5 years working your tail off, spending, only maybe 2 days per week with your family, but the rest of the 18 hours per day or 5 days a week, you spent making money. Think of the amount of quality time you can now spend with your family, right? Because before, when you're working your day job, you work 12 hours, you get done, and you're like, oh, I got to sit on the couch. Let me eat some Cheetos. Let me eat some Funyuns. Let me watch some Netflix. And you don't even look at your family. And you say, oh, we watched a movie together. That's family time. You guys are stupid. That ain't family time. A lot of you guys think your family time is worth something. Your family time is garbage. You don't even spend time with your family. You say you do, but you really don't. You know? When's the last time you spent a whole day and you didn't look at your phone and you spent the whole day with your family making some sort of memory? Honestly, think about it. Reflect right now. Just reflect. Let me know in the chat. When's the last time you did that? Right? Like my grandpa, he's 77, right? I went on a hike with him, right? We left on a Friday, stayed in a hotel, we ate out, right? And then the next day we woke up early, we drove to the site, we hiked, for I think it was like 3 hours, right? We got to our destination, we chilled out for an hour, and then we hiked 3 hours back, right? So it was about 7 hours. And then we drove another 3 hours home. I spent that whole day, 18 hours with my grandfather. You know how many cat videos I watched when I did that? You know how many Netflix series I watched when I did that? You know how many hours of heart-to-heart conversation I had with my grandfather? He could die tomorrow. That could have been the last time I had to spend time with him. I won't even know it. You won't even know it. You don't get to choose when your family dies, right? You don't get to choose when they die. But in your head, you know, average is 70 something years old, right? So statistically speaking, every time, every moment I spend with my grandpa now is gravy on top. It's the frosting on top of the cake, because the statistics say he could be dead tomorrow, right? You ever think about, you know, one day when you were in high school or junior high or whatever, and you're playing with your next door neighbor kids and you're playing with your buddies, and then one day, uh, you look back and you're like, when was the last time we actually hung out? You don't know. You don't know what the last moment you're going to spend with those people are, right? That moment just goes and comes. It just comes and goes. You don't get to choose when it is. It is when it is. So I have always thought in my head, like, okay, I'd rather make the sacrifice now, work my tail off in the hopes of I get those 77 years like the average person, and I get, I'll work hard for 5, 10 years, and then the rest of my life, I get it all on easy mode, right? How many people, try and work their tail off so they're, right now, so they can have it on easy mode the rest of their life? Or would they rather have it on sucky mode their whole life? Because you can either suffer now for a little bit of time and have it great, or you can suffer the rest of your life and have it sucky the whole time. Like, for me, working for somebody, I was not made to work for somebody other than myself. I was not made to have a boss. My mentality, I switch jobs every single year, guys. I've worked for like 11 or 12 employers, and it was always right around a year. After a year of working for somebody, working there, I couldn't do it anymore. I'm like, I'm either not feeling appreciated, or I'm not making the amount of money I think I deserve, so I'm moving on to the next company, right? And so I just got fed up. I was fed up with it. I was sick and tired of not getting anywhere in life, and then I was just like, forget it. I'm going to do my own thing. I'd rather die than go back to being somebody's slave, you know? And working a 9 to 5, you're basically somebody's slave, because you're working. Let me just put it this way. I'm over here making double what any other driver, a company driver, is making, and I'm literally doing the same work. I'm doing the same job any OSW or any OMA driver or any Corliss driver or Randall driver or any of the other drivers out there. I'm doing the same exact work they're doing, but I'm making more money doing it. Why can't you work for yourself? Why can't you work that hard for yourself? Right? I used to say to myself, if I can work this hard as a slave for somebody else, how come I can't work this hard for myself? You know? And I finally got to a point where, like, I'm done working for somebody else. It's time to work for me. It's time to make my dreams happen. I'm sick and tired of making big rigs richer. I remember the first time I see one of their invoices. They were getting like 10 grand per load for hauling jet fuel. And I was doing 3 loads in a week. So they were getting 30 grand per week. Granted, that's gross, not net, right? I don't know what their expenses were, but I can tell you it wasn't no 30 grand. I can tell you it was not no 30 grand, right? Now, I didn't choose to go into the tanker field because I thought it was going to be a lot harder than going into dump trucking, right? Because in the hazmat realm of things, insurance is extremely more expensive. Rightfully so, too, because, I mean, just think about it. If you have one spill or a leak could explode, kill thousands of people. If you do a cross contamination, where you dump the wrong product in the wrong tank, there goes thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Blah blah blah. You get the picture. It seemed too complex for me to get into, so I was like, a dump truck is easy. You're just hauling dirt. It's brainless. You get in, you drive the truck, you get to your site, you turn the PT on, you tip the box, and then you roll. You know, literally, almost any business out there that's you can be successful at, almost anything you can do it and make money at it. you know and I think a lot of the times where a lot of people get held up, and I did a couple YouTube shorts about this, and I'm not sure if they're out yet or not, because I've scheduled them out. But a lot of people have this idea that, oh, it takes money to make money, right? Or it takes $100,000 to start a dump truck business or whatever. So many people are like, oh, they get paralyzed by that initial cost of starting, right? And a lot of people don't take that leap into business ownership because they're like, oh man, I got to have $70,000 to start a dump truck business to start. Well, I'm here to tell you, I started with 10 grand in my bank. That was it. 10 grand. And realistically, I started before that. I saved up 8,000 and I bought a dump truck for 8,000, right? You know, and you can start your dump truck business with $350,000 in debt, $400,000 in debt if you go buy a brand new dump truck. But just put it this way, if you don't keep that thing rolling, consequences are going to suck. You know, that's why I try and encourage people to start with an older dump truck. You know, for one, because you get more experience learning the real industry of dump trucks. Like if you buy a new dump truck, you're not going to know anything of maintenance for dump trucks. Like you really aren't. You're not going to know anything. You're not going to learn anything, right? It's easy to start with a new dump truck. All you have to do is call a dispatcher and get loads and get paid. That's how easy it is to start with a new dump truck. Because the things hardly break down, right? You just got to work. You just got to keep those wheels rolling. But if you start with an older dump truck, it's a little more involved, right? You got more maintenance issues coming up. Oh, you got a tie rod that needs to be replaced. Oh, you got some bushings that are starting to look like they're worn out. Oh, you got a kingpin that's worn out. Oh, you got, some wiring issues. Yep. And that's a lot of times that's what happens. Blacktop is 100% on point. A lot of guys, they think that they can just jump into a brand new dump truck and have customers galore, you know. And if you're a very sociable person and people like you, then maybe you'll be lucky. I consider myself a very social person, right? I talk to everybody, right? And you know, I got so lucky when I started my business, guys. My first summer I worked for 6 months straight. And then the first 6 months of winter I didn't work a single day. I sat on my butt for 6 months basically. And a lot of the problems is when you say, okay, I'm gonna buy a brand new dump truck, I'm gonna work the thing 24/7, 24/7, and then you work the summer and you see all this money that's coming in and everything, and you start buying all this stuff, you know, and you're making all this money, but then when winter rolls around, you find out really who your true customers are that actually have work for you, and they actually, you know, need your service, right? Because a lot of companies out there will just, blow sunshine up your rear, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, we got work for you. We got these jobs coming up." I don't know how many people have told me that. "Oh yeah, Brian, you're the top dump trucker, man. We got you on our list of places to work and this and that." And everybody's gonna tell you the same thing, right? And eventually, you're gonna realize a lot of those people are full of it. They are full of crap. Their eyes are brown. They are tip top. They've been topped off full of crap, right? And so you go into winter expecting you're going to have all this work, and then you have nothing. And then you look at that truck payment, and it's $4,000 a month. And you look at your insurance is due in January, and that's 6 grand, right? And then you go and you look at that pickup that you just spent $20,000 down payment on, and you're like, "Oh man, I wish I wouldn't have bought that pickup. I could still afford my payments. I guess I'm gonna have to sell my dump truck if I can't find any work." And the next thing you know, they're out of business, right? Because they thought they had customers and they really didn't. They thought they had something lined up, but they didn't. That's why I never tell people to buy a brand new dump truck to start their business. In a perfect world, yes, buy a brand new dump truck. You'll never have to work on the thing. You can just work it 24/7, blah, blah, blah. It'll be amazing for you. But in the real world, it's not as easy. It's a lot easier if you start out with a cheap old dump truck. You spend a little more time working on it. You make more profit because you own it outright. Or even if you don't own it outright, your payments are not $4,000 a month, right? They might be $1,000 a month. Something that's a lot more easy to handle, right? And work your way up. That's what I did. I started with the 1985 8V92 Silver Detroit, and now I'm driving a 2020 Peterbilt. 5 years. It took me 5 years to get to where I'm at. So, the first 2 years, I was, I put my nose to the grindstone and I was just sliding on the pavement. You know, I was pushing the weight. You know, and then after my second year, I decided, you know what, time for me to hire my first employee. I got at that point, I had a backhoe, a dozer. I know, what did I have? I don't even remember what I had. I know I had the big 120, and I think I got my mini after I bought this. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look. But anyways, you get the picture. I started with the old crappy dump truck with the cracked frame, and now I'm driving a 2020. You know, and in 2 years, or a year and a half or whatever, if I don't make an extra payment, it'll be paid for 100% cash, right? I'll have the green title sitting in my safe in a year and a half, 2 years, right? This thing's worth as much as a house is. But I started out with an old dump truck, right? I learned what it took to run a business successfully. I learned the type of maintenance needs, right? The maintenance schedules. I learned what type of work makes money and what type of work costs you money, right? And the biggest thing is I was able to discover in myself and in my thought process, like, is this something I can do long term, right? Because remember, my history is every single year I changed companies because I either got bored, I was sick and tired of it. I've been doing dump trucking for 5 years. This is I've ever held a job. Before that, it was like 1 year, and I was done. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this on your social media side of preference. I'm going in through ordering here, and the cell reception is going to get really crappy here, so I'll probably end the live stream pretty quick here. But I'll stick around for a couple more minutes until it starts getting glitchy. Answer some questions. If you guys got some questions or comments, we'll get to that real quick. You took your money out of savings to buy an old dump truck, zero regrets. Hell yeah, Gustavo. Dude, rock on, man. That's basically what I did. That's exactly what I did. I worked for a full year for Big Rig's Tanker, and I worked as many hours as I could, and we lived on macaroni and cheese, beans and rice, rice and beans, top ramen, those 99-cent hot dogs. Like, that's what we lived on. And we saved 10 grand. I spent 8 of it on a dump truck. Next thing you know, here I am. Zero regrets, dude. Zero. Absolutely zero regrets. If I could, actually, I do have one regret. My regret is I didn't do it earlier. That's my one regret. Like, if I could go back time, I would have done this right out of high school. Screw it. Forget high school. I would have done it out of junior high if I could have. Like, if I could go back, you tell me what day I can go back to, that's what I'm doing it. If I could tell myself, right, if I could just show him the life I'm living now versus the life I had, I'd say, hey, dude, you don't want to go through all that struggle. Just do it now, man. Just start now. The longer you wait, the longer it takes. It's that simple. If it takes you 5 years to start a business, you ain't going to get here until 10 years. So try and start it now. Give yourself a goal to start it as soon as possible. And if it doesn't happen, hey, you're that much closer because you were giving it your best shot, right? Now, it's like if you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to give myself 2 days to clean this living room, then it's going to take you 2 days to clean the living room. If you give yourself an hour, then you're going to have an hour, and you're going to do it way faster, way more efficient. And maybe you don't finish it, but you're going to be that much closer. How much income do I keep for myself and put back into the business? 50-50? Question mark. That's a good question. Michael, I would say probably right now it's probably close to 50-50. But the first 3 years of my business, 4 years of my business, it was 98% goes back into the business. 2% goes to, pay for my living expenses, like the food I'm eating, dude, this guy's truck is really smoking. Yeah, when I first started, the first 2-3 years, I didn't spend a dime unless it was for the business. This past 2 years, I spent a lot more money on me, right? I built the driveway to my house. I paid for my well in cash, paid for my septic in cash. You know, I paid to get my electricity all cash. That was all business. The business paid for it, right? So that is more personal stuff. I consider it more personal, but realistically, it's still for the business, right? I couldn't park my dump truck down on my property if I didn't build the driveway, right? So the business had to pay for that, right? So, I mean, if it's so hard to say an exact percentage, like how much do I keep for myself and how much does the business get reinvested, right? Like okay, I bought a pickup for I bought the pickup for myself mainly, but it's a business expense because I use the pickup to go to bids and do all this other business stuff, you know. So is it really for me or is it for the business? You know, it's hard to put an actual percentage or number on it because it's there's really no way to put a number on it. I get that question asked all the time, like how much money do you really take out of the business? Well, I'll tell you what. I live comfortable enough. If I want a $400 coat, I'm buying a $400 coat. If I want a $30 steak, I'm buying a $30 steak. Right? That's where I'm at right now. Like right now I'm at in the position of if I want it, I'm buying it. I don't care. And a lot of things, you know, we still don't have our house yet, right? But it's not because we can't have the house. I already got pre-approved for the loan. If I wanted it, I could have it. The reason I'm putting that off is because long term, right? If I wait another year, the market's going to go down even more, right? The cost to build a house is going to go down, right? Because prices just got so overinflated. I'm just waiting for them to come back down. I'm not going to pay top dollar for a house when I already have a nice place to live. And you know, a lot of people will make excuses and say they can't live my lifestyle. They don't know what they can live. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that statement 100%. Sometimes being able to know you can afford something is just as good as buying the item. Bingo. Yes. That is so true. Because that right there gives you peace of mind. And a lot of the things in life, you don't really need the things. You would like to have it, but you don't really need it, right? And what it is it's delayed gratification, you know, like our house. Once our house is built, we're never going back to a camper, right? So think about it. Right now, my family, my wife and my two kids, we're all living in this camper, right? The amount of close time we have with each other is maximized. Think about it. If I lived in a 2,000 square foot house, the kids would be in one room and I would be in another, and I would not see them, right? That's the way it goes, you know. When you have a big house, nobody's ever in the same room, you know. And when they are, I mean, it's not for very long. But anyways, yeah, I like that point. That is a good point. Just knowing that you can afford something is better than sometimes buying the thing, you know? Because what it is you're looking back to the times when you couldn't buy it, right? See, now I can buy a $30 steak if I want. But the reason it is amazing is because 6 years ago, there's no way I was buying a $30 steak. I couldn't afford it. If I bought a $30 steak, it would have cost me 2 hours to pay for that steak. Right? Like, it's crazy, right? So that's a very good point, Gustavo. I like that point. But Michael, my advice to people is put as much money back into the business as you possibly can, as long as you can, until you're happy with your lifestyle, and then, you know, then just maintain. You know, you don't have to put 75% of the income back into the business, you know, for 20 years straight. If you get to the lifestyle you want after 10 years, then just stay there, you know. You don't have to have, you know, it just depends on what you want in life, right? And everybody's different. What I want right now is just a peace of mind. Me working, my family get to enjoy my time. When I give them my time, they enjoy it to the fullest. And, you know, they know I'm taking care of them. And that's, you know, at the end of the day, that's the best thing that I want. You know, my family knows if they want something, they don't have to go without it. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. We've been on here for an hour. It was fun hanging out with you guys. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe and the notification bell. Hit the like button. There's 12 of you guys watching. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 of you guys must be haters because you haven't liked the video. So, yeah, I'm heading over to the maintenance shack. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one.